they either resell shoes or sell drugs. So
Yeah. And hello everyone, welcome back guys to another episode of Inconsiderate Insight. Right, we have the usual troublemakers here. Right, I'm Pravin. We have with us Iqbal from Diplomat, Zik from BI, and our guest for today, Mr. J. Mijares, who is from the Kickz Stand. Right, he's going to be telling us a lot
guys,
about
Let's go.
what makes him an
Let's
OG of the sneaker community in Australia. Right, what's it like? And maybe you can get a peek into someone with such an interesting lifestyle. Hey Jay, how's it holding up? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good. So it's close to midnight where you're from, right?
Yeah, man. 4 minutes to midnight.
Sydney.
Actually.
wow.
Yeah.
Midnight.
Wow.
4 minutes to midnight. All right, so we
2 minutes. Wrong. Let's do.
anyway, minutes to midnight. But here we are with Jay. Thank you for taking the time. So maybe
All good,
we can
man.
give
All
us a lowdown, right? Tell us, like, let's get straight from the top. Tell us about Kickz Stand, its conception, what inspired you.
All right, so we'll start about the Kickz Stand. So the Kickz Stand basically started in 2013. It started as a Facebook community group. So from 2013, I guess the group just grew like a lot. Like I think now we have about 48,000 members. And then from that group, basically the community group, like we support like our local brands, our local businesses, local artists. We promote basically, the people here in Australia and everything, and try to help them what they can bring for the community, I guess. And then from that group, basically, then we started doing events from 2013, and then that events basically just grew. Then we traveled around Australia and did our events in different cities and stuff. So it's pretty cool, I guess.
Wow.
Wait, man, Jay. So wait, when did you start? What year was Kickz Stand conceived?
2013.
And what would you say? How has the scene changed or evolved in like the last 7 years?
I guess it changed a lot. I mean, in the early stages of the Kickz Stand, basically, it was just like the community. I mean, there was a community already, but it wasn't big, right? Because the people that was actually collecting sneakers or buying sneakers are, they had a sort of like a passion for it. It was more like they buy it to wear it or to collect it. But I guess the scene now, it evolved. Now the reselling and everything like that, it became more like a business kind of thing. So you still have like people that would collect and buy and everything like that, but now it's like it just grew more like a business kind of thing. But it is what it is, I guess.
How would you compare it with scenes in other countries? Like, there's the US, of course, sneakerhead capital. But then what about? Are you familiar with other countries in the region?
Well, during the time with the Kickz Stand now, so I've been sort of branching out within Asia. So like, I go to Singapore, like, I get in touch with like the guys from Culture Cartel, like Street Superior and everything, and other events in Asia. Basically, like, I think the scene now, even overseas, is sort of like they're all a bit similar. Like, like that resale market is kind of, it's there, and I don't think it's going to change for the time being. If people see it that it will benefit them financially, I guess it will happen. I think it's not an investment, I guess, because like if you think about it, right, like reselling not just happens in sneakers, like it happens in property, in cars, like like it can be anything. But I guess with the sneakers and stuff, I think people see it like there's value on it. Like people can actually buy in bulk and then try to make extra money through that. Even the younger generation, I guess, they see it like that. They get it from like the guys from YouTube. They see other people do it, and I guess they get encouraged and influenced by that as well.
Right. Bao, are you familiar with the sneaker scene in Singapore, Bao?
I guess I joined quite late. I think I started like in the third year when Street Superior was known as Soul Superior. So
Yep.
that was like I think in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and I was lucky enough that we have a friend named Jans. So I think now he's known in the world to have the largest collection of
That's
uh,
how I met you.
nice.
I
Yeah,
remember.
that's how I met you, man. Yeah, and through him I kind of met
Now we know the origin story.
yeah, and through him I kind of met Jay, and at that point of time I actually illustrated this poster, which I actually gave it to Jay, and I think from there then
Yeah, I
our
still got
friend.
that, man.
Oh wow, yeah, the total honor, man. Like ever since then
Damn.
we've been in contact, and we've been wanting to
Mm.
work together, right, Jay? Like for the longest time,
Yeah.
and I think like last year was the opportunity to start. So that's why I was working on this series called the Soul Beast series, which is like
Mm.
sneakers turning into animals, and he kind of took a interest in that, and then he said, "Bro, why not you do a series of like Australian animals and
Damn.
sneakers where." So apparently in Australia, there's a lot of
That's dope.
sneaker communities like Sneaker Freaker, the Kickz Stand. Uh, there's some more brands, and he was saying
Mm-hmm.
let's do something to honor like the sneaker community in Australia. So like every sneaker
Okay.
community, there's a collaboration shoe.
Okay, Bal, that's the
Yeah,
word I want to talk about. That's what
yeah,
I want to talk about. I want to shoot Jay this thing.
yeah.
So Jay, like
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
what's become interesting with sneaker culture is that it's become versatile, in the sense of
Mhm.
collaborations. Like people that you wouldn't really think are collaborating. I mean, it's as nuts
Mhm.
as like I'm sure you've seen the Oreo Supreme
Mhm.
collaboration, right? Like the Supreme brand
Yeah, man.
attached to Oreo. Things and like I mean
Yeah,
that's whack as shit.
I still got mine, man. I still got mine in the kitchen. Like it's expired already.
Yeah, but it's a collector's item now, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess you don't have the heart to eat it, but like, what kind of collaborations do you, as someone who's been in the scene for a while, what do you see as unfolding? Like, what are interesting collaborations? Like, if Blackpink
Well,
came to launch a sneaker line tomorrow, would that work out?
oh man, they'll smash it. Man, their
Ooh.
following is crazy. Like man, like I don't know, man. If Blackpink did a sneaker thing, which I'm pretty sure it'll happen because they're sponsored by Adidas, right? Like man, I think that's pretty sure it's gonna happen eventually.
Do you think
They'll
that
smash
something
it
like
for
that
sure.
could translate to the States or like even Australia?
Yeah.
Would there be enough of a
Yeah,
following to buy?
it depends, right? Like I mean, I think collaboration now. I think brands these days they would collaborate with people that has influence, and meaning by influence is that they have a following that or they have a reach that basically people like basically not copy but they do follow what they wear, what they do, what they eat, kind of thing. um, and a lot of big brands they basically they target those kind of people. I mean, certain brands they do like support the community by doing collaborations with local boutiques in each region or each country,
Mhm.
to show their support and basically. But I think brands these days, like they do target. I mean, if they do really want to make
Right.
a lot of money, I guess. I mean, they got to target like those big names. You know what I mean?
So, okay, I've got a question for Zeke that maybe Jay you can jump in on. So, as a kind of unexpected collaboration, I think the one that I think of is always Gary V and K Swiss, right?
Ooh.
Like, here's an entrepreneur rolling out shoes. Zeke, did you buy them, or were you down to buy them,
So to be
Oh,
honest,
or is it just that K Swiss isn't your brand, so that wasn't it for
no,
you?
no. I'm down for K-Swiss, man. Like even back in school, I was like walking on K-Swiss. There's one point in time.
Yeah,
It
same
was
Right.
it
here.
was an old one, man. It was an old one. It has got like those fat shoes. It's like those after kind of skate scene and all that. Because for me, my culture is like the skate culture. So I kind of rock with all those fat shoes back then. And the moment when he launched it, the partnership, the for me it's more of a like the design. I don't feel the design, but I feel that the collaboration is pretty cool, and
So you
he's
would
like the
buy it
first entrepreneur.
even if the design doesn't speak to you.
No, so I will go for the design first.
All right.
like the
Okay.
design, the aesthetics is big for me. Like apart from like the brand,
Okay,
apart
so
from the
do band
collaborations.
like Jay, what do you think? Like do brands like K Swiss, who have a bit
Yep.
more of an old school, a bit more of a traditional design, do they suffer in the sneaker marketplace, or do we like
Well,
a bit more about Yeezys? You know, like what's it like in the scene?
well, at the moment now, I think the current scene now, I mean, a lot of things from from the past is actually coming back. So a lot of like the chunky shoes and the dad shoes, they're basically, and a lot of like retros, they're actually all coming back now. I mean, if you notice a lot of the brands, like New Balance, especially, they're bringing out all the old silhouettes that they actually released back in the day. So I think, like, I mean, it would work. Like, it depends, right? Because I mean, for example, right, like for Gary Vee, I guess, I mean, he's got a very strong following with people. People might buy it because it's a collaboration under his name. But I do agree with Zeke that some people do buy it because for the actual design and how it looks like and everything. But I think it's more like these collaborations these days now. It's more like to support that person or to support the artist, really, just to get a part of something that they, because a lot of these collaborations they are actually designed by the actual person. They had a hand on the actual design, so the consumers basically will feel that I own something that this person designed or had a hand on creating. You know what I mean? So that's another thing, I guess, that another factor, I guess, when people would want to support that collaboration.
Well, what's a brand that, as a sneakerhead, you feel like you
Mm.
gotta know that will separate you from, like, the filthy casuals, right? Well, what's a brand that, as an insider, that, yeah, this is insider speak. This is a brand to follow that, maybe the layperson wouldn't quite.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, brands these days, like they're like a bit out there, right? Like, I mean, especially for the big brands like Nike and Adidas, right? They're just, they're like that well known. I mean, personally for me, I think brands that I do sort of like, I think that like that I support or like not getting a lot of like, for example, attention and stuff. Like, for example, Asics, Puma, and all the other New Balance and stuff like that. But I mean, but it is what it is, I guess. Like, I mean, people will support certain brands or like brands because like they've been wearing it for a while or kind of thing. So
Interesting. Z, I mean, you went through design school and all of that. Was sneaker culture popular there? Because I'm wondering if what's the community in Singapore that the sneaker community is like most aligned with. Is it like the design community, the arts community, very savvy, or is it still very much aligned with the hip hop kind of scene, or has
I
it
guess
transcended and gone to weird places?
I guess like when I was in school, the hip hop scene hasn't really taken over like fully yet. It was still early in stages because when I grew up, it was more of the rock and roll, the hardcore scene. So there's
Right.
nothing much about the sneaker scene because it's quite fresh, I think. And I guess in terms of like different fields of design in schools, for example, like the fashion guys will wear their own thing. They will wear the most funkiest, the most extravagant like pair of shoes. Like for the designers, like we will be the more minimalist kind, where it's like just white soles, black shoes,
Okay.
and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Like,
So
because that's interesting. Like you mentioned about white souls and all that. Maybe Bao also can jump in on this, because the sense that I'm getting is, as you go for more meetings, see a lot of creative directors, right, who rock sneakers in the workplace, and I don't think I saw much of this more than 5 years ago. Like, so I don't know. Maybe you guys can give me some context. Like, when do you think that sneaker culture broke through and just became a creative staple?
In the Singapore scene or like worldwide?
Give me both. Give me worldwide, man. Give me both.
I think when people start to gain knowledge about the sneaker scene, I feel like there are collectors from way before time, like in the 1990s, where Air Jordans are out, where Nike SBs, like there's something that everybody likes in certain silhouettes that they start collecting, and I would say that these are the OG sneaker collectors who actually have knowledge. They understand the history behind uh each sneaker, when it's being launched, what happened during the era. So like for example, I think when we look at Nike SB, when Jeff Staple released their Nike SB silhouette, like there were riot. I mean, I wouldn't say there were riot. There were actually police cases. The queue was long. There were people being shot when it was being released. So those who kind of like the young ones who are actually like jumping in, they are just jumping on the hype. Uh,
Mm.
but generally speaking, I think now there is this like, I mean, like with all these community spaces where, like, for example, Soul Superior, or like it's more than just sneakers in Australia. It's like a place where it's like a mecca for people who are actually interested in this culture, be it whether they know it from A to Z, or something is something new for them to like, hey, it's something trendy, it's something like hype beasts, for instance, like all these
Mm.
people who are hype beasts, they just come in, just want to trend jack and follow it. So yeah, so this
Mm.
it creates that conversation, it creates that debate, you know. And sometimes, yeah, it gets a bit nasty, in the sense that, you know, some OGs feel like, you know, we got to stay pure, you know, these people are just like trying to take. But I think
Mm.
I think here is where people start to to understand and create a new era for sneaker culture, in a sense. I mean, I'm throwing it to Jay. Like, what do you think? What do you think of what I've said? Is it true?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, especially the OG sneakerheads. Like, I mean, they feel like, oh, you know, these young kids now, they're just buying the shoes just to resell and everything like that. They don't actually appreciate the culture and everything like that. But you know, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, you can't stop these guys, and man, like, you don't even know the reason behind. Sometimes, like, there's certain kids out there, man, like, you know, I mean, if you gotta put it, they either resell shoes or sell drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Life.
these kids now, they're a bit more savvy, right? Like, they can find ways to buy sneakers through the internet or do something, or they line up like for days just to buy shoes, but it's not illegal. They're not hurting anyone. Man, imagine, like, you know, I don't know, like, I think they just have to see it. I think the older generation, they just sort of like, they need to sort of let go, I guess, you know, because I mean, they have to adapt. You know, I mean, you can't just stay in the past, because the past is the past. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we get that here
Yeah.
in Australia. Like, I mean, there's a lot of like OG sneakerheads that, man, they like in the Facebook groups, like, you know, you'll see them. They're very angry because they missed out, because these kids were just all there. They just want to buy it all and everything like that. But
Mhm.
man, these kids, like, they make time to line up. They're there for like a whole week, like lining up, right? And if you don't put out the work, like, then you're gonna miss out on the shoe.
I think that's interesting. This perspective of past versus the future. Like, what do you see as the trends that sneaker culture will move towards? But I think more importantly, I think there's another question in there, which is like for you, Jay, where
Mm.
do you draw inspiration? That what inspires you outside of sneaker culture, and like what gives you another perspective that you lend towards things like the kickstand that comes from outside
Well,
sneaker culture?
I guess, like, what inspires me basically within our community here is, like, we started the kickstand. Basically, the one of the main things that I really want to do and really hope for and then strive for is basically to help our community. We didn't know how to help people back then, like, but that's what we want to do, like, even, you know. But now that we grew our, basically, our reach and all that stuff, then now we can actually help our local community towards basically just to help them promote what they do. When I go overseas and do other events, I try to bring them with me to help them promote their brands or what they do in other countries. I think that inspires me more, like, basically just, I think it's just to help people, really, to be honest. Like, I'll, you know, like, I don't know, make a difference, I guess, in our community. Like, I mean, the kickstand itself was never established to make money. That wasn't the point, because I have a 9 to 5 job, and
Mm-hmm.
this is basically like sort of like a passion and a hobby for me.
Mhm.
So I can
Side
actually,
hustle.
yeah, like a sort of a side hustle thing, but it's not there to, I can't quit my job for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
Jay,
What
what do
kind
you
of
do
activities?
full time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work for a bank here. I work in IT.
I mean, the funny thing is,
So
we've known for so long, and now I know that why is he working in 9 to 5. Oh my goodness.
because you never asked.
Yeah, bro. We didn't have the
Do you wear the
chance.
sneakers to the bank? Like, is that your work attire?
Man, you know, it's crazy, right? So over like I've been working for the bank for a long time, and it was always a corporate attire, like you know, wear shirt, tie, and everything like that. But for some reason, the past I think 3 years, 3 years now, the culture just changed. Now we wear smart casual, so we wear sneakers, jeans, as long as we have to wear a collar.
Why though?
It's changed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Yeah.
it was
You
never
want
like
to become
that. But
fintech before fintech gets you. So to wear the
like it's
sneakers,
kinda,
the
you
startup
know,
culture
yeah.
thing.
I don't know, but it's just changing. But now I get to wear sneakers and jeans and everything. Like I mean, I can't wear shorts. We have to wear jeans at least, and
Mhm.
it's
Wow.
relaxed
Just
now.
broken into the mainstream.
But then I think now we know, like, for example, the COVID-19 has hit us. Like, what's the situation in Australia? Like how has it hit, like not only just you but
Well, that's the
like the
thing. So
scene
when it
as well?
first,
Yeah.
yeah, how did it affect the scene here in
Yeah.
Australia?
Yeah.
When it first started, I guess like yeah, so people can't line up anymore. Like they can't line up for shoes. So now like Foot Locker and all the other thing, they all do it online. I guess it's okay because then at least now that it sort of gives an even playing field kind of thing. Like you have to be quick, right? Just to try to
Yeah.
purchase it online and stuff. And you know they do raffles as well, online raffles. So you know, I guess that's the only thing. Like because you know they can't line up anymore for shoes and everything like that. Physically be there. They can't even pick up the shoes. They actually have to like get posted and everything. So you know, it is what it is, I guess. But apart from that, I mean, another thing that thing we can't do our events. So we had a lot of events this year, which we had to all postpone for next year now. So, but I am planning an event, but an online event. So sort of like, you know, like what we're doing now kind of thing, but like with vendors and everything like that. So that's already, you know, like in the process. So I think November we're gonna actually launch that one.
Like the way I look at sneaker culture is kind of integrating into all facets of life. Like I feel like there's a few avenues that sneaker culture is going to integrate into, and one is like food cart kind of culture, like just food culture in general. Like I think there's a weird parallel between these two things. Like if there was an Indomie sneaker release, I swear they'll make waves, or like sriracha sauce, like those kind of things.
Well, funny you say that because like one of my sponsors is actually Indomie.
There you go. I was about to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, why are they sponsoring you? Like what do they get in return?
Well,
Is this Indomie crowd, the sneaker crowd? Like
Yeah.
well, that's the thing, right? Okay, so how the partnership started because I mean I like eating Indomie, right? So that's just a given. And it's sort of like it relates to a lot of people here, or like especially students, right? So what they do, so they buy shoes, but now they don't have enough money to buy food, so the only thing they
it's
eat.
so brilliant. Oh shit. That's like, oh my god, that's so easy.
So they buy Indomie because it's the cheapest thing kind of thing to eat, right? And it's yummy and everything. So it's sort of
like in a supermarket, you would have oh shit. You put the beer beside the potato chips, right? Like in the supermarket, like these are things that people are gonna grab together. Like, dude, I'm thinking like toys and sneakers are gonna be huge. Like, because I was a big Lego fan growing up, and like even classic movies like Back to the Future. I love the Nike McFlyers. I owned like in 2015 because the movie, right? Like it wasn't the official Nike one, but some other kind of knockoff sneakers because it looked a lot more like the movie replica than the ones that Nike
they released the Air Mags, the replica movie replica ones. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, things like toys. Like I bet.
Yeah,
like,
but bro, funny
Lego...
you say that because I think they're gonna launch. Adidas is going to collab with Lego apparently.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Right, this
They got there first.
Mystic shit.
They promoted it already. It's actually alright. The box is like a big Lego block.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Maybe I saw it. Maybe I saw it as the brand recall, man. It's a brand recall.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
That's
think, and I
cool.
think Lego is going crazy as well because I think they just
Yeah.
collab with IKEA, and then now with
Mm-hmm.
Adidas, like
Yeah,
And
they did a
and
Nintendo. They did Nintendo, Super Mario.
yeah. But
So
then
just games also.
I just want some of your views, Jay. Like, what do you think
Yeah,
about
sure.
streetwear going into luxury brands though? Like right now, like we've seen the Air Dior, and now I've
Yep.
seen the Adidas Prada. Like,
Prada, yeah.
is this something that streetwears are slowly inclined to, or is something like a fad, like it's gonna phase out like quickly? Like, what do you think about it?
Yeah. Maybe at the moment now it's what I think it's just because it's like it's what's in at the moment, right? Because like street fashion now and high fashion, it's kind of like they're all going that way at the moment. Like, I mean, if you think about like Off-White, right? Like Off-White is sort of like it's street fashion, but I mean, if you look at the price tag, is like, it's pretty. It's not,
mhm.
it's not cheap. So I think that at the moment it's sort of a phase, but all these fashion brands like Prada, Dior, and stuff, they sort of need to I think because they need to compete with these other streetwear brands at their premium prices. So I think they
Yeah.
need to get in there to stay. I don't know, maybe
Relevant?
not stay
Yeah.
relevant, but
Okay.
I think they just need to be there to basically try to target some of these people that can afford to pay this kind of streetwear. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the
Mhm.
Dior Jordans is like 2,000, right?
Yeah.
But for that much money, you can actually get Balenciaga like
Yeah.
sneakers as well. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I think they're just trying to I think they're just trying to stay relevant still within
Yeah.
the community. But I think it's just a phase. But
Yeah.
I think eventually, I don't know, maybe they'll keep on going. Maybe it depends, really, to be honest. I mean, if they
Yeah. I
see
don't
value,
know.
they're making money. So,
Yeah. I don't know if you guys follow the skate scene, because skate scene,
mm,
like, you have riders riding for certain brands, and like
mm-hmm.
just recently I heard that Louis Vuitton
Yep.
just got a rider to ride for Louis Vuitton.
Oh
So
wow.
imagine a
Yeah.
skateboarder riding for Louis Vuitton. So that's like a whole new level already of
Mm.
playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, I
like
mean, Louis Vuitton. I mean, especially now that Virgil is one of the creative director for
Yeah.
men's,
yeah.
and they did a collaboration with Nigo as well. Like, I
Mm.
mean, I don't know. I think it's just,
They are
I
just
mean, it's
tightening out the
good. Like, I
gap.
mean, yeah,
The gap is getting
exactly.
tighter.
Interesting.
Okay, Jay, I gotta ask you this, man.
Yeah, sure.
What's your like first ever sneaker you've ever worn?
Well, I think from what I remember when I was a kid, it was a Jordan 4 military blue.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah,
And you got
when
that
I was
from?
young. Sorry.
Do you get it as a gift, or do you work for it?
Nah, like
Or
no, my parents bought it for me when I was young. I still remember that. Yeah, I don't know what happened to it actually. I think I broke it or something. But yeah, I was
okay,
still
okay.
young. But I think like I mean, sneakers for me it's always sort of like been part of my life. Like I mean, because of I think influence through basketball, I guess, and growing up, and then I guess when watching Michael Jordan when I was young and, seeing that what he can do, I'm thinking, oh, if I wear his shoes, maybe I can do the same thing kind of thing, but not really.
Be like
But,
Mike.
but I
Yeah.
think I think sneaker culture, I think is very influenced, like with like, I mean, if you speak to a lot of like OG heads, like, I mean, a lot of them been because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And then when you speak to like, the guys like the do skate and everything, the SBs is basically, what's
Yeah.
and the good thing about SBs, they all have, back in the day, each release that they had, it had a story. And which is good now that the SBs that they're releasing now, there's actually stories, good, actual background stories on these sneakers that they're actually bringing out, which is good.
Yeah. So I want to touch a bit on my knowledge on Nike SBs. So I kind of follow the skate scene. You guys kind of know about that already.
Yeah.
And I've been following this skater. His name is Paul Rodriguez from the US. So sneaker culture kind of like exposed to me ever since Nike got him to ride for
Yeah.
And the offering was quite amazing because he was offered 1 million to ride for Nike, and with that amount, and because he was riding for a well-known sneaker company, skate sneaker called ES. I don't know what you call it, S or ES, along the likes of like Osiris, DVS, and Globe, Circa, from the likes of like Coston, Chamaska, and all that. So he kind of got the privilege to be headhunted and to be scouted by Nike to ride for them.
Yep.
And at that point in time, like Nike, like those shoes, are they built for skateboarding? Do they have like pads to kind of cushion your impact and all that? So we were all like curious, like whether is this
To live up to it.
like
Yeah.
and since then it kind of took off all the way for him.
Yeah.
Period 1, 2, 3, all the way to period 10 signature shoes, which is like crazy.
Did you end up getting one as well? So, like for
I got-
example, right? So, like
I got a
because it's that thing, like you like that guy and everything like that. Did you end up like basically, oh, I want that shoes. Maybe I can skate the same thing as well. When
I
you were
did,
younger?
but for me, like I said earlier, it was all about the design because he
Yeah.
got influenced by Jordan, he influenced by
Yeah.
Bruce Lee and all that. So he decided to kind of like mix up the few of the designs. But for me, what really I like the most was the number 10, which is the Pure X, which is actually quite a simple leather shoe, which is kind of my thing, minimalist kind of thing.
Sweet.
Yeah, a lot of the SBs I noticed that a lot of them are like just really simple. Like the only thing is just a lot of colorways and stuff. Like I mean,
Yeah,
now that they're
like-
bringing out all these crazy colorways and stuff. Like I don't know if you saw, but they released the Chunky Donkeys SB. The
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry.
man, that was
Yes.
crazy, man. Those shoes. It's like the ice cream one, Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, man.
I think there's a release. I'm not so sure. Is it with Maluma, or is it there's this reggaeton artist, right? That I think is going to come out soon. I'm not so sure. Yeah, but that looks very colorful and crazy as well.
Oh, that's the thing. A lot of the SBs coming out, like all the collaboration, they're all colorful. Like the Grateful Dead, you know, the bears, yellow, green, and everything. They were cool too. The fairy ones.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I think from our conversation, you are also into like Asics, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the collaborations that we did was on a Gel Light 3 Sneaker Freaker, which is kind of interesting. And I think from there you were saying like, hey, I'm gonna send this to the creator of Gel Light 3. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So like, can we let's talk about that? Like, how do you know him, man? And like, yeah.
Well, I guess the relationship between me and ASICS here in Australia, like, I think the partnership started, about 2016. And then from that partnership is basically, it just grew and it became like, you know, good friends and everything like that. And then, yeah, like, so I guess I've been blessed that when they have a release or they have someone come, you know, they invite me, right? And yeah, like when the anniversary for the Gel Light 3s happened, so they brought that guy, Shigeyuki Mitsui, which is the one who designed the Gel Light 3. And then, yeah, they asked me, oh, are you free this day? You know, do you want to come dinner with us? And I'm going, all right. And that's how basically we met. And then, yeah, I spoke to the guy and I keep in touch with him still. And then, you know, I told him I'll send him a shirt and everything. And, he loved the shirt. So it's pretty cool. Like, you know, that's the thing. Like, I never imagined, right? So let's just touch base again, I guess, with the Kickz Stand thing. Like, I never imagined that it's going to grow this big and then I get to meet different people, right? Like, for example, yourself. Like, and I guess with that, and like, I appreciate that, you know, like meeting all these people, right? Like that, I never thought that I would, never in my life that I would meet these kind of people. And some of the people that I've met is like people that I've watched only through the internet or read through the internet and everything. So with the ASICS thing, is basically, it's just a relationship that was built already for years. And I've been blessed that they support me and my events and what I do. Like like when the Ronnie Fig sneakers came out. So that was actually didn't even release in Australia, and they only gave it to certain people in Australia as sort of like a gift, like for supporting them. And man, I've been blessed that I was actually got one of those.
Nice.
So, but that's the thing though, like it's not. This relationship is like I worked hard for it. Like I mean, like it wasn't like sort of like I'm the only one taking all the time. So I'm always trying to give back to them as well, trying to help them promote their releases and everything. So, it's a give and take kind of thing, relationship. So, I appreciate what they do for me, and it's basically in same thing with them as well. So. Yeah.
So Jay, like I want to take the conversation before we wrap things up to
sure.
a little bit of the spotlight on you, right? So
Okay.
what's someone who's coming into the sneaker community, or what do you believe in as an individual, a human being? What's a great book, podcast, influencer, or something that's a piece of content online that you think everyone should be following, whether they're a sneakerhead or it could be someone else?
Well, at the moment now, right? So when this COVID thing happened, I've noticed there's a lot of people doing podcasts and a lot of people doing like, all the YouTube videos and everything like that. I guess like for someone that new to the scene and everything, I guess it's hard to give them advice who to watch or thing, because I think it really depends on what their interest is on, right? So I guess for a sneakerhead, at the moment here in Australia, there's a podcast that I'm listening to that I support. Is basically these guys that two guys, one's like sort of a new school guy and one's like an old school guy. So basically they talk about, they always refer back in the past and like what's current happening now. So I think that's actually a pretty good sort of podcast that I
What's the name of that podcast?
What's his name again? Hold on, let me just quickly check the name. But it's a brand. So they're actually a streetwear brand here in Australia, but they started a podcast as well.
Wow.
So
Nice.
So which is it's kind of like it's pretty good. It's called Under Construction Podcast.
Oh, okay. I just want to interject a little bit. Like, can you name us, like, because we are from Singapore, like, can you name us some Australian brands, like streetwear brands that it's kind of like hot at the moment, that we should look out for?
Well, so these guys here, so it's actually, so the guy that started this podcast, he owns his own streetwear brand. So it's sort of like two things that he's doing. He's got a streetwear brand and he's got a podcast. So this one's actually all right. So Asphalt and Cult. So when you see the actual thing, I'll send you guys the thing. So it's actually a simple sort of brand kind of thing, like at the moment, because he's just starting out. So it's basically just his logo and everything. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. There's a brand, one of my friends in Melbourne, Cocaine. So that's like a lot of the it's called like with a K, not with a C. Yeah. So that one's actually so that's actually like so that one's actually like hot at the moment. Like, I mean, it's been hot for a while actually, that brand. So which is good, because that's like my friend actually really built that up from from the ground up, and like from what they had like before and to now, it's like it's crazy. Like, man, they like when they do a pop-up shop, it's like a lineup. They actually have about 100 deep people like actually lining up to buy their stuff, which is pretty good. Yeah, so they're good.
That's interesting.
Yeah. A lot of like because of like what's happening now, and a lot of the brands, I mean, they're trying to find ways to to build it because of COVID and everything like that, but and then just try to support them as much as we can, I guess.
Oh man, that's great. I love the support you give to the scene. So before we wrap things up, maybe do you have a question for us or for our viewers who are watching? Like, maybe they can even shoot you things in the comment section. What about you? Any lingering questions, Jay?
Um, let's see. So now that basically how the pandemic is and everything like that, how are you guys at the moment handling where you guys are? Like, I mean, are you guys working from home, or are you are you guys walking
In,
around like kind
in
of thing?
Singapore, it's
Like,
mostly working from home.
Yeah.
Everything shuts off at 10:30 in Singapore now, so there's not much of like nightlife
oh,
or late night activities.
Yeah.
But
I see.
it's not too
So,
bad. Like
mm,
it's mask on, but everyone's feels like life's getting a bit back to normal,
Yeah.
that's all
even
right
with a
then.
bit
That's
of
cool.
restrictions. Yeah.
I think we
Man,
were
What
we
about you
were
guys?
we were on a low
How you
when
been holding up?
sorry. So we were on a low when McDonald's decided to close early. So there
Yeah,
was a
man.
period
oh
because
man.
McDonald's
Wasn't
was
24 hours
24
anymore.
hours delivery, and then they decided to stop at 9 p.m. Everybody went ape shit. They went crazy, and then as the period goes on, they went into from phase one to phase two. They say like, hey, now it's
Mm.
closing. It will close in midnight. Everybody was like rejoicing. So like, there was a moment like imagine the whole nation, no whole nation's sanity depended on McDonald's.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man. People were selling their sneakers just to get McSpicy.
yeah,
That's how bad it was becoming.
yeah.
That's
Great.
all right.
Loving the energy, Jay. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for spending your time
All good, man.
Jay,
with
thanks,
us.
man.
All
Yeah.
right. So,
All good,
all
guys.
right, you can find Jay on the Kickz Stand, but most importantly, Jay, why don't you give us your plug? Tell
Yeah.
people who want to find out about what you do, the things that you do, the work that you do. Where
Yeah.
can they find you?
And then what's next? Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, the Kickz Stand is on Facebook fan page. Basically, it's just the Kickz Stand. Instagram, the Kickz Stand. Website is thekickstand.com.au. I mean, we have Twitter as well. We have YouTube. I mean, we're all in that platforms and everything like that. I guess for this year, I mean, we don't have physical events, but we are actually doing an online event, which it's not just going to be Australia. It's actually I'm going to try to involve people from different countries as well on this event. So something to look out for, because, I mean, we got to try to adapt, I guess, of what's happening in the world. But yeah, apart from that, that's it.
Right.
All
Thank you
right.
for schooling us. Right?
Thanks, man.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
All good, guys.
Remember, like, share, and subscribe, fellas.
Peace out. Peace
All right.
out.
Peace out.
Later, guys.
And cut.